All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are putting on our detective hats. We're going to learn how to crack the case of information overload and investigate sources like a true pro. I mean, think about it. You're scrolling, you're reading, we are just hit with a constant flood of articles, posts, and reports. It's a lot. So the real case we need to solve is this. In a world where everyone has a voice, how do you figure out which ones are actually worth listening to? Who can you trust?
So, welcome to the case, Detective. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to learn how to slice through all that noise and find information that's actually credible and reliable. And believe me, this isn't just some stuffy academic skill. It's an absolutely essential tool for getting by in the world today.
You know, every great detective knows where to look for the most important clues first. For us, almost any investigation of a source boils down to two key things. Who is the person or group behind the information? And who are they creating it for? These are your two biggest clues: authority and audience.
Let's break down that first clue. Authority. This is really all about the credibility of the source. It answers the most basic question you should ask of any piece of information. Why should I believe you? It's all about figuring out if the person talking actually has the expertise to back up what they're saying. Now, our second clue, intended audience, is just as critical. This tells you who the information was actually written for, and knowing that helps you understand, the context, the kind of language they're using, and if the source is even a good fit for what you need. Was it meant for an expert, a total beginner, or just the general public? All right, let's get to the fun part, the first phase of our investigation. It's time to put our sources on the stand. I want you to think of evaluating a source's authority like you're interrogating a key witness in a case. You've got to check their story and make sure they are reliable. And every good detective has a procedure, a checklist. Here's our 4-point inspection for every witness or source you come across. We're going to check their credentials, the publisher's reputation, the evidence they bring to the table, and any potential motives or biases they might have. First things first, let's look at the author. Who is this person? Do they have the right background? I mean, a PhD in astrophysics talking about black holes, that carries a lot more weight than an anonymous blogger, right? We're looking for real expertise. Things like education, an affiliation with a respected institution, and a track record of working in that field. Okay, next up, where was this information published? Because the venue really matters. A report you find on a .gov website or an article from a university press has a kind of built-in credibility. And the gold standard? That's the peer review process. It means other experts in that same field have already checked the work for quality and accuracy before it ever reached your eyes. Now we get to the real heart of the interrogation: evidence and motive. Does the source actually back up its claims with facts and references that you can go and check for yourself? That's their evidence. And then, what's their motive? Are they just trying to inform you, or are they trying to persuade you to think a certain way? A source with a clear agenda might be leaving out some pretty important parts of the story.
This is a fantastic way to picture the hierarchy of reliability. Think of this as your suspect lineup. On one end, you have your most trustworthy witnesses, peer-reviewed articles, government reports. These are super high authority. Then in the middle, you've got things like major newspapers, which are often reliable but might have some editorial leanings. And way down at the other end, you have unverified sources, like a random blog or a social media post. Those have the lowest authority.
Okay, we've grilled our witness. Now it's time for phase 2 of the investigation. Uncovering the intended audience is all about understanding the context. Who is this information originally created for? Because believe me, the answer changes everything. Just look at this contrast here. A scholarly article is going to use dense technical language because it's written for other experts who already know the lingo. But an article in a popular magazine on the exact same topic will use simple, clear language because it's meant for everybody. Neither one is necessarily bad, they just have completely different purposes. The language they use is a huge clue. And it's not just a simple split between scholars and the public. You'll find info tailored for professionals in a specific industry, or for students in a textbook, or for people an advocacy group is trying to convince. Just being able to recognize these categories helps you quickly figure out a source's goal and how useful it's going to be for you.
So, we've interrogated our source, we've analyzed the audience, we've gathered all the clues. Now, it's time for the verdict. Why does all of this detective work actually matter in the real world?
It matters because being a good research detective makes your own work so much better. You can build stronger, more convincing arguments. You're way better equipped to spot and avoid misinformation. You find sources that are actually relevant to what you need. And ultimately, you produce higher quality, more trustworthy work yourself. These skills don't just make you a better researcher, they make you a sharper thinker in all parts of your life.
You know, this line from our source material really just hits the nail on the head. At the end of the day, the strength of your own ideas and conclusions depends entirely on the strength of the sources you use to build them. It's that simple. Strong sources, strong argument.
And with that, case closed. Congratulations, detective. You now have the fundamental tools, your detective's toolkit, to be a much smarter, more critical, and more confident consumer of information every single day.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. From this moment on, every time a new piece of information crosses your path, what are those 2 critical questions you will ask to begin your investigation? You know the answer, and that is your key to finding the truth.